We saw some of the emails that were sent from FDA staff to each other. And the importance of these emails is that these FDA staffers are basically writing to each other, never ever imagining that their quotes would appear here. So we found them. There are quite a few quotes. Okay. But this is the one that I think tells you much about what the FDA staffers thought about the way the city was selling rail. Here's a quote. I do not think the FDA should be associated with their lousy practices of public manipulation, and we should call them on. We believe that that's exactly what has happened, that the information being sent out by Heart of the city has in fact tried to manipulate public opinion. What can I say?
Is it stainless steel?
This is a cartoon by Pritchett, who, by the way, is one of our supporters. Well, in 2005, then Mayor Hamlin went to the state legislature, and he said, you know, we can build a rail system from Kapolei, not in a farm field, from Kapolei to the UH for $2.7 billion. Well, on May 3rd, 2012, Mr. Proboscis, who is the head of Heart now, in a response to a question from Councilwoman Ann Kobayashi as to what it would cost to build the entire system, all 34 miles of it, said this. Well, let me get down to where it comes. The total estimated cost for a locally preferred alternative 34 miles is $9.3 billion. I never told you all that, right? Well, but this is their estimate. The studies show that these projects have about a 40% cost overrun. So, add 40% to that, and you're looking at about $13 billion if you ever try to build it. Well, you folks have finally figured it out. As the public got more information, you know, the tide of public opinion began to turn, and two polls, Star Advertiser poll, 53% opposed rail, which is remarkable because it went from 49% for rail to 53% against, and in the Civil Beat poll, it went from 49% to 55% opposing rail. Only 34% support rail, and eventually we'll get to every one of them.
That's funny.
Get your name for it. Now, here's a claim by the city. The city says, if you take rail, you could get from Kapolei to Honolulu Shopping Center in 42 minutes, if you live at the station. Here's what we think is the problem with rail. Too many transfers. Okay? Is your home? You want to take the bus? Get on the rail? And you gotta take the bus again, get wherever you're going. This is faster. This is what I'm for. Bus rapid transit. So what's the alternative? You know, people have been asking me, Cayetano, what's your alternative? Well, we actually have been talking about it a lot, but let me lay it out for you. There's about $2.8 billion left for the rail, 0.5% rail surcharge. If elected, what I intend to do is to go to the legislature and the governor and ask them to revise the law, because the law is specific to rail, to allow the city to use those funds to upgrade what's really important, the city's infrastructure, sewer, water system, roads, Paula, and all of them. Short-term alternatives, better, less expensive solutions include improve the nation's best bus system. By the way, this is what the buses are beginning to look like now. Doesn't it look like a train? Point-to-point express buses. That's one way to do it for the short term. And other improvements that don't cost a lot of money. For example, I think it's in Minnesota, they're doing something called bus on shoulder. In other words, they allow the bus to run on the shoulder exclusively. Then you have road and sidewalk improvements that you can make, upgrade traffic light synchronization. Engineers in my crew squad tell me that the city's traffic light synchronization is about 15 to 20 years behind. Now, getting the software for this is not a big problem. You know, the cost, comparatively speaking, is not much. And you'll have to train maybe about 50 or so staff members, because right now we've got about 6 guys here, and they just, you know, can't do the job with that kind of staff. And you train these guys to be, and gals, to be like air traffic controllers, or their traffic controllers. Flexible telework, that's being encouraged right now, and you know it's growing in our country. And perhaps a flexible 4-day work week. These are inexpensive, they don't cost money, and put together they can be very, very effective in alleviating traffic congestion. The long term, develop bus rapid transit. You know, in 2003, the city had paid Parsons and Brinkhoff, the same consultant that's doing the rail project, more than $10 million to develop the 2003 environmental impact statement, which rated bus rapid transit superior to rail. People are surprised by this, but that's a fact. Here's what they said. The light rail transit alternative was dropped because subsequent analysis revealed that bus rapid transit using electric powered vehicles could accomplish virtually all of the objectives of light rail at substantially less cost. So you pay these guys more than $10 million. Professor Pardo says it's more like $20 million. And they came up with this recommendation in 2003, and then in 2004, a new mayor was elected. He threw this out the window, paid Parsons Brinkhoff the same money, and they came up to justify steel on steel rail elevator, which costs 5 times more than bus rapid transit. Here's some examples of bus rapid transit. You see the buses here. This one runs down the center lane, and they have a dedicated lane, so